Hello, everybody. This is Nathaniel Byers, and I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm a big fan of Lazy Town, and I'm fairly active within the community. Subscribe to a lot of the channels. Really big fan of the show, especially the music. And I'm going to do something that is relatively uncommon within the community that hasn't really been done too much before, namely ranking all of the songs from the worst to the best with kind of a bit of a dissertation and description and why I feel that way about certain songs within the series. Now, people have differing opinions, obviously, and this is only my subjective preferences. This is not my This isn't the objective be-all, end-all of the best songs in the series. It's more so my opinions about it and why I feel that way and why those certain opinions resonate with me. So without further ado, let's get started. So we're going from worst to best, and I'm going to explain why I feel that way. So within the show, actually not just within the show, because on this list also I have Go Step Go, which is not technically featured on the show, but most of the other songs are all songs from different episodes of Lazy Town. So here we go. So, and I counted them all out, and that's 78 songs, approximately, roughly 78 songs. So without further ado, number 78 on my list. Wait, 78, 73, whatever. Well, the number doesn't really matter. So we're just going to go with last place because I have them saved on a YouTube playlist, and it says there's only 73 videos, but I thought it was 78. It doesn't really matter. So anyways, without further ado, my least favorite Lazy Town song, Holly Jolly Holidays. I've just never been a big fan of this song. Like, the song is kind of mid-tempo, relatively, it's catchy in some parts, kind of the secondary dominance in the pre-chorus of it's the time for peace and joy. It's kind of pleasant, you have like Santa singing, you have all the characters singing the chorus. It's kind of a hearkening back to the Juliana era Christmas song from that episode, which is I Love Christmas, which I think I Love Christmas is a much better song. I don't like this song because the chorus is cheesy. I don't like Santa's vocals in the song. It's just a really cheesy song, and a lot of Lazy Town songs kind of flirt within in between the cheesiness, but also the sense of real catchiness as convincing pieces of music. Like, it kind of teeters that line between kind of having that very childlike lyrical scheme and, very fun, bouncy type of feeling. What makes a lot of Lazy Town songs so good is that they can pass for really good songs other than just being songs you might hear on a kid's show. I mean, the lyrics give it away, but the music doesn't always give it away. And I think with Holly Jolly Holidays, it's one of those songs that sounds like it could be on Barney or something. It's just very annoying. It's almost too... It's too unconvincing as an actual piece of music, and it doesn't pass for a pop song. It passes for a song that's solely, maybe passable on like a kid's show, like a really little kid's show. And a lot of Lazy Town songs are more than that and serve as good musical examples to study for people who like pop, or people who want to look into writing music for kids shows as like really unique works of music. And I think Holly Jolly Holidays really is one of the most lackluster and just worst in terms of passing as a pop song, a real pop song, or something that could be musically convincing other than being something that sounds like it's from a show like Barney or any other show for really, really for even younger audiences than Lazy Town. So that being said, Holly Jolly Holidays is my least favorite. My next least favorite is Boogie Woogie Boo. Happy birthday to you. There are a lot of people that I've seen, and different lists that people have run down on YouTube and other places, where this song is actually very high in their rankings. Actually, big fans of this song. And sure, it can be catchy enough. It's kind of, it's got like a nice little memorable melody, boogie woogie boo, and things of that sort. But it's just not, for me, it's kind of a silly reason. But the fact that they say the words boogie woogie boo is kind of like, it kind of kills it for me, and it's just, it's kind of catchy in the way that you hate it. It's not like the instrumentation isn't as convincing as some of the other catchy songs, like something like 20 Times Time, or even other mid-paced ones like When We Play in a Band or something like that. Boogie Woogie Boo just kind of it's hard to explain why I don't really like it too much. It's just really, really cheesy. And there are a lot of cheesy songs that really work in Lazy Town, but Boogie Woogie Boo isn't really one of them. And I'm not big on that episode either. Also, we'll find a trend within this list that a lot of the songs that I'm not as big on are within the Chloe Lang era of Lazy Town. And that's not to say that Chloe doesn't do a good job. She has a very good voice. She's a very competent performer, a good dancer, and everything of that sort. But the songs themselves kind of deviate from maybe the more electropop sounds of the first wave of Lazy Town seasons, that being season 1 and 2. So we'll find that, a bunch of the Chloe Lang songs are here kind of at the tail end of the list, with a few exceptions that we'll see later on. So and then next, at number, according to my YouTube list, number 71, I Wanna Dance. This is one of the last songs that Juliana did during her Lazy Town tenure. And it's just, I think that the song is very poorly written. I'm a music composition major, and being a songwriter, I try to retain a sense of uniformity. Like, you can deviate in terms of chord progressions and in terms of resolutions, as in like maybe a chorus being in a different key than the verse. But this song has very little congruity, mainly stylistically. Like, we get the sense that, it's, this song is sung by Robbie Rotten in the verses, and then Stephanie sings the chorus of the song. The verses are actually the better written parts, and have some relatively unique instrumentation, with the usual percussion and beats. There's also kind of like the synth bits and things like that, but there's also an accordion that plays, kind of giving it like a bit of a French cafe type of feel, but not fully, not entirely. That's not the whole vibe of the song. And that's something interesting that started in the verses of the song. That's kind of okay. And then when Stephanie sings the chorus, first of all, the chorus itself is just very, very lackluster. It's only 3 notes. There's only 3 notes in the entire chorus, and it's a repeated line of Stephanie saying, "I want to dance, dance, dance." And those are the only words in the chorus, and it's "I wanna dance," just a rotation between some alternating notes, and it's just very, it's very disappointing, because the verse kind of is melodically varied, instrumentally varied, and the accordion pretty much disappears in the chorus, kind of in favor for an electric guitar, and the chorus doesn't change key, but it doesn't really make sense, because it's sung on the tonic, but the key signature is kind of it's kind of indiscriminate. It's hard to tell like what the exact key signature is at that point of the song. It starts out in A flat minor, and then the chorus is kind of in A flat minor, but it's not really. You can't really tell it's A flat minor because there's never the median, the lowered median note, which is like the middle of the chord that makes a chord minor. I'm talking about this musical stuff that a lot of you probably may or may not understand, but these are things that I kind of see and that I kind of look at when I listen to these songs, because, you know, Lazy Town has a lot of redemptive musical value with their songs. Like, the show it's not just its color, it's not just its vibrancy, and it's not just its overall intrigue with the characters, it's the music itself, and actually some of the deeper underlying rich music theory that lies in a lot of these songs. So, that being said, I'm not a fan of I Wanna Dance, and it's my least favorite song in the Juliana era of Lazy Town. The next song on this list, I don't have too many like major reasons for disliking it. It's just Rock Your Socks Off, sung by Robbie Rotten. And a lot of you will probably disagree with this because, you know, it's kind of giving off an Elvis vibe, and, you know, Robbie Rotten in this episode is disguised as this emblematic rock star character that you know, kind of was popular in the world of Lazy Town and the world in general, as alluded to in the episode. But he's disguised as Johnny B. Bad, which is kind of a more than a subtle nod to Johnny B. Good, who was the popular rock star during the 50s. But this song has a very Elvis-y type of sound, just kind of we have the typical blues guitar progression, you know, and I mean, it's one of those things that stylistically it's done well, and it's interesting, and it definitely captures the essence and the style of like Elvis songs and things of that sort, like Jailhouse Rock, Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog. It's got that vibe, it's got that guitar tone, and Robbie Stefan does a really good job, you know, singing in Elvis's style, and but that's just not really my style. So it's not really something I can fault for the song itself, because it was produced well, and it achieved its set out goal, and it did a good job at that. It's just the fact that it's not really my sound personally, and it's not really something I find particularly catchy or interesting, and I don't really listen to Elvis Presley, Bill Haley in the Comets, and other 50s music in general, Buddy Holly, what have you. I'm not a big fan of that style. So that being said, we are now on to the fifth worst Lazy Town song. And this one is going to be not really a shocker, but a disappointment to some, I think. It's Fun to Be the Mayor. I've tried to like this song. It's kind of clever in terms of its instrumentation. It really deviates from the synths and the kind of electropop beats, and it kind of goes into a more folky, you know, not quite country, but, you know, folky type of sound. It's just like you can hear a banjo, some acoustic guitars, and Robbie Rotten talking about how it's fun to be the mayor, since he's disguised himself as Mayor Meanswell in this episode. So, it's just not really my sound. I think it's one of those things where it deviates from what Lazy Town does best in terms of the stylistic, the stylistic sounds it hones in on. That being the really catchy beats, the synthesizers, and things of that sort. And there are a lot of songs that deviate somewhat from this instrumentation, or at least maybe they use the synth as kind of a base for further instrumental exploration. Like there might be a synth with the addition of an acoustic guitar, or the addition of some of their instruments, or things of that sort. And those songs usually do really well. I think with It's Fun to Be the Mayor, it's just, well, it's slow for one, and it's just not really catchy, and it's kind of boring, I think, because it doesn't have that Lazy Town song, traditional Lazy Town song sound that grabs you. That's like do 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 do, or something like really memorable, like some type of line like that really just like, whoa, that's catchy. I want to hear this. I want to keep listening to this song. So, excuse me. That's I live on a college campus that is right by the train tracks, and I live about probably like 50 yards or so from the train tracks. And I hear the train pass by every now and then. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But that happens sometimes. Try to go to sleep, just hear the train. But anyways, so yeah, It's Fun to Be the Mayor. Definitely not one of my favorites. Next on the list for my sixth least favorite Lazy Town song is another Chloe Lang classic. This song is just it's just not good. So for the sixth worst Lazy Town song, sorry, I'm fumbling over my words. I didn't have a script or anything prepared. The sixth worst Lazy Town song is, in my opinion, is Sports Candy. It's just, it kind of takes the pop song convention to like an annoying level. Like, because it sounds like a pop song without the Lazy Town flair. Like, it's not really synthy at all. It kind of has like the like of those like acoustic guitars, but also just subtle, just somewhat clean electric guitars and things like that. But it's just, it's just not very memorable. It doesn't have a line that really sticks out to you, and the chorus is very weak. Like, in fact, the song's chorus is really just a bunch of na 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 nas, and that's not like bad in itself, but the melody is kind of, the melody is not really simple enough for it to be something that like runs through your head. It's kind of convoluted and goes like a lot of different places, and it kind of borrows from other melodies. Like, I think of Sports Candy, like it has a line that's I'm sorry, I'm getting lost because I'm trying to think of the songs that I think it kind of like has similar undertones to in that chorus. The chorus of Sports Candy, na 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 na. It's just it's too long of a theme for it to be like really catchy, and like it kind of reminds me of like It's Time for the Show, like da 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 da, and it's kind of like that similar type of thing, or Hey We Play, the na 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 na, and that's a really great song because it has a really good chorus, and the nas aren't the chorus. And then at the It's Time for the Show, it doesn't really have a chorus. It just has a lot of really good verses. But Sports Candy is just very it's just very unconvincing in its verses. And the verses are what are supposed to be interesting. The verses are kind of where you're supposed to explore a lot of different melodic material, and in the chorus you kind of settle down with like a certain theme that might be repeated, like not like I Want to Dance type of theme where it's just two notes, but something kind of brief that kind of like cements certain things, and in the verses where you can get a bit more exploratory. because that ensures that a song is memorable and interesting. But in Sports Candy, the tune is just da 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 da, and that's the entire verse, and it's just a repeated line. And there's some other Lazy Town songs that do that, and we'll probably get to them relatively soon, because those types of Lazy Town songs usually aren't as good. So, Sports Candy, just not a very good song, not very memorable. It's a very forgettable Lazy Town song. It doesn't really grab you. It doesn't really grip you. So next is one that I know that some people really love, but I don't know. It's a Robbie Rotten song, and a lot of Robbie Rotten songs are fairly solid, but some of them just are eh. And so for the seventh worst Lazy Town song, in my opinion, Woof Woof Woof. Now, Woof 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 is, it's kind of a fun song, and, it's kind of cute, kind of has its merits, because Robbie Rotten in this episode, of course, has a robotic dog, and it's funny, but it's just, we're starting to get to the point with these Lazy Town songs that these songs in themselves aren't really that bad. There's just so many better Lazy Town songs. Most Lazy Town songs I don't really dislike. The first few, absolutely not a fan of the first few that I've talked about. But Woof 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 isn't really a bad song. It kind of does what it's supposed to do. It's just one of those things where it isn't my personal cup of tea, like stylistically. It's kind of got those big drums, like boom, 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 and that type of thing. And that's not as much my type of groove as the traditional Lazy Town sound, I guess. So, Woof 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 is not a bad song. We're getting to the point where these songs are starting to be a little more just not really up my alley, or not really my preference, or not my style, but not necessarily bad songs in themselves. So I don't have much more to say about Woof Woof Woof. It's not a terrible song. As I said, we're getting to the point where these songs aren't really terrible anymore. They're just not really preferential to me. So next, we have my 8th least favorite Lazy Town song, and this is going to be maddening for some people, but hey, this is my list, not yours, so this list is mine. Okay, dumb joke. But anyways, my 8th least favorite Lazy Town song has gotta be Life Can Be, or as I like to call it, Life Can Be a Surprise. It has some good ideas, and it has some interesting parts. It's just too long. It's too long for a Lazy Town song. A lot of Lazy Town songs kind of push like the 1.5 to 2 minute mark, and they keep you interested. They don't do too much. And the thing is, Life Can Be doesn't do too much either. Like, he kind of sticks with its initial themes. It just kind of has Chloe Lang's good old traditional break it down scenes, which I think can be detractors to some of the songs in her era of Lazy Town. And Life Can Be, once again, not a bad song. I think it just tries to do too much, and I think it takes up a little bit too much time. The chorus is fairly memorable and interesting, and I think it's a pretty well-written chorus, Sing like nobody's... shoot. Dance like nobody's watching. Dang it. I don't even know the words here. Dance like nobody's watching. Sing like nobody's listening. Da 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 da. It's what life's all about. Life can be a surprise. Like, it's a pretty good chorus. It's just kind of a redundant song, and it takes a long time for it to really... And by the time it's over, it's like, well, thank God it's over. That took a really long time. Let's get back to the episode. And I know that a lot of people don't really feel that way about this song, and I know that some lists that I've seen have this song as one of the better Lazy Town songs ever. But it's just not as much my speed, and I think it's the other than the completed version of Big Bang and Go Step Go, it's definitely among the longest Lazy Town songs to be aired on the show. So, I'm going to be doing this video in multiple parts. So, that was part 1. And I'm going to figure out how to do the math so I can have like probably an even amount of videos or an even amount of songs within each video so that I can like so that each video can have the same amount of songs like talked about in it. I don't know, that's going to involve some math. If we're dealing with 73, that's something where we'd be dealing with decimals, so it might not matter. I did 8 songs today and got a lot of ground covered. There's a lot more to go, but these are my 8 least favorite Lazy Town songs, and we're going to be going through the others and just going through some dissertations and reasons why I don't like, and eventually we get like really like, because you know the list goes on and things get better as they go. So thanks guys for tuning in to my 8 least favorite Lazy Town songs thus far. If you have any comments, thoughts, agreements, disagreements, grievances, you know, anything of that sort, you know, just feel free to leave a comment below. And I'm curious as to what you guys think. What are some of your least favorite Lazy Town songs? You know, you don't have to put it in a list of 8. You can put it in a list of 10, list of 1. Make a list of every single Lazy Town song if you want. But yeah, like definitely interact with the material I've laid out here. Also, subscribe. I don't do primarily Lazy Town content, but I'm a very frequent follower of Lazy Town material, whether it be the memes, watching episodes, or other people's Lazy Town content history. I also really like Lidebeer and the original Icelandic inception of the show. So, yeah, just feel free to subscribe. I'm a composer, I'm a musician. I sometimes post a lot of piano stuff, write a lot of music. So if you're interested in my material, feel free to contact me and subscribe to my channel. And have a great day, guys.